Hey guys, how are you? Hold on just a sec here. Twitch is giving me a little bit of an issue here. I hope you guys are doing well today on this Saturday or Sunday, afternoon. So today, guys, we are going to be talking about, a crimes and justice case, essentially. This is regarding a man named Horace Van Vaultz Jr. And he is suspected in the murders of multiple women. But, really what I am really going live to discuss is the photos that they found in his home. And in these photos, they don't know who these women are, where these women are. And, maybe by showing these photos, we will, possibly find, maybe one of these women can, a family member will recognize them. I mean, it's actually quite surprising, actually, that no one knows who these women are. Honestly, it is very surprising. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on a second. Let me see if this will work. Maybe. If not, then maybe the word killer is Twitch doesn't like that. Okay. Mystery. All right, hold on. Or it could be the fact of my punctuation. Let's see here if that's what it is, and if not, that's what it was. Believe it or not, the word killer in Twitch will not allow you to do that. So let's get started, everybody. There is a gentleman out of California who is an accused serial killer. I say accused right now because he's not been officially convicted yet, but DNA actually got him caught up. So let me show you the story, and then I want to show you a video clip really quick. This is from the local news station there, out of his location, and you'll get a feel here of what I mean. So let me real quick bring up and share out with you guys this article here. Now, this is Channel 4 out of Burbank, California. Now, keep in mind that this man, Horace Van Vaultz Jr., and this is him here when he was younger, and as he got older, this is him as he looks currently. He has been charged with murder, and he is the first person to ever be charged with murder in the state of California based on genealogy DNA. So for all those running down to Ancestry.com and 23andMe and submitting their DNA into the database, well, they're catching up these people's family members, because what they do, the police, go to these companies, and these companies are not bound to, anyone in particular, really. And so they, the police will bring a warrant. Yes, I can see you, Luca. Hi there. To everybody. I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you guys in the chat first. Hi there to those of you in Periscope. Hi to those of you in Facebook. Yes, I see you, Luca. And hi to those of you on Facebook as well. So it's good to have you guys on. I stream to multiple platforms at once. I'm also streaming this to my cold case channel on YouTube because this is considered a cold case. But I'm also working to get that monetized as well. The Golden State Killer, didn't they find him the same way? Yes, they did. They sure did. So let me just kind of go through this with you guys. So basically, DNA led to this guy getting captured, and he has been charged in the murders of 2 women. But they found these photos at his home, and they have been unable to locate who these women are, why he had these photos, and he's not really talking. So let's kind of go through the case a little bit, and then I'm going to show you a video. So police in Burbank, this is in Burbank, California, said the women seen in a cache of photographs discovered during a search of an accused serial killer's home could be important clues in the man's upcoming trial. The Burbank Police Department Detective Aaron Kay says, "I don't know who they are. My concern is that either they're missing or dead. They could be the victim of something." And again, this is Horace Van Vaultz Jr., and he is the man that's currently, in jail, charged with the murders of 2 women. I know I say the word a lot. I'm really working on that. So I apologize to those of you who catch that once in a while. I'm working on it. Anyway, the photographs were found last fall when Horace Van Vaultz was arrested. The first case brought by the LA County District Attorney's Office that relied in part on searches of genealogical DNA databases in order to identify an alleged killer. So they go to 23andMe, they go to Ancestry.com, and they're like, "We would like your DNA samples so that we can run it against our database samples of DNA." And essentially there is a type of DNA that you can identify relatives through: brothers, sisters, parents, all that good stuff. And so that's exactly the techniques that they're using. So honestly, this is not the reason why I never submitted my DNA to any of those companies. I just simply have never submitted my DNA to any of these companies because they sell our data. And it for just stuff like this. I mean, I would feel horrible if I was the one that went and got DNA done, and then, one of my family members is identified for a crime that they committed, years and years ago. Not that they shouldn't maybe be punished for their crime, but I just wouldn't want to be the catalyst for that, On top of the fact that it's such an invasion of privacy, and there's no telling what they're doing with this data and this DNA samples when they get it. They could be using your DNA samples to create, inseminate monkeys with human babies. That has happened before, believe it or not. So needless to say, a 64-year-old man was charged with 2 counts of murder, with 7 counts of special circumstance allegations, including multiple murders in line and wait, said District Attorney Jackie Lacey, who announced this in November of last year. The detective said his concern is that they're either missing or dead, these women that are shown in this montage, and I'll show you this photo here in a moment. The charges included the 1986 murder of Mary Duggan, whose body was found in the trunk of her own car parked near the 5 freeway in Burbank. She was last seen at a bar on Vanawan in Reseda and a pizza restaurant on Satakoy Street nearby. The leads ended up running cold, Detective Kay said. There was little to follow up on. And this is the detective right here. Okay. Then in 2006, think about this, okay? 1986 to 2006, 20 years later, A DNA profile from Duggan's body that had been uploaded to a law enforcement database linked the case to the 1981 unsolved murder of Selena Cow, who was tied up, sexually assaulted, and strangled. Her body was dumped in Montclair. So the same sample or DNA profile sample from Miss Duggan's body matched the same DNA sample on Selena's body. You got Selena in 1981 and Miss Duggan in 1986, 5 years apart or so. This was a big deal because it opened up a whole new avenue of leads that we didn't know about, Kay said, but none led to the identification of a suspect. What it opened up is it told them they had a serial killer. The arrest in 2018 of the man accused of being the so-called Golden State Killer changed Kay's case. After authorities across California revealed they'd used genealogical databases to look for relatives of the person who'd left a DNA profile on at least a dozen murder victims. That was big news because now there was a different way of using the suspect's DNA to try to identify him. With the approval of supervisors and prosecutors, the profile from the Duggan and the Selena Kiow murders were used to search for relatives. First in law enforcement DNA files. Pay attention to this. So they searched law enforcement DNA files. What does that mean exactly? I want to know what that means because becoming a law enforcement officer, I don't think requires you submit to DNA unless I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But then I'm thinking maybe they're looking at different databases of DNA that they've captured or gotten from people, because now you can be convicted of a crime and have your mouth swabbed and your DNA put into a database. Now in Texas, for sure, when you go to prison, they swab your mouth. Even state prison, Texas penitentiary, you will get a DNA swab. And they will, if they can link you to, something else that you've did in the past, you will get caught up. Now, then they looked in genealogical data online, which is so scary to me because it is such an invasion of privacy, and I don't know. I don't know how you guys may feel about it, but I feel a certain kind of way about that because that surely isn't the way that they advertise their services. They advertise their services to find missing relatives. Who would have thought that the police would be piggybacking off of that, finding, I don't know. There's pros and cons to it, guys, honestly. A list of suspects were developed, and vaults seemed to fit by gender, age, and living locations at the time of the murders. Quote, I remember when I saw his name, then I saw some of the things that were contributing to my suspicion of him, and I got excited, Detective Kay said. Court records showed that Vaultz had been arrested for a number of sexual assaults, including an incident in 1984 in which he pled no contest to a misdemeanor after a 22-year-old woman accused him of choking and sexually assaulting her. That would be a felony these days. In 1988, Vaultz was acquitted in Ventura County Superior Court, this is all still in California, for the sexual assault and murder of a woman named Jana Rowe on Christmas of 1986. He was actually acquitted of a murder charge. She was last seen at a motel in Thousand Oaks, and her body was found at a trash dump site in Ventura several days later. So another quote by the detective, that's my biggest concern. I don't want to leave anyone behind who's a victim. Now, the photographs have presented a new mystery. Can says the women shown have a similar appearance: young, Caucasian, with light brown or blonde hair. Vaultz was a peripheral figure in the early days of LA's hip hop music scene, and Kay says there are indications Vault's access to large dance events and parties put him in contact with hundreds, if not thousands, of young women. You know, I see dark haired women here too, light brown haired, blonde haired. I don't think it probably mattered to this man. And then they go on to say, the detective, I want to make sure that people see his picture, that they understand what he was doing back then to see if we can get some resolution to some other families. There are numerous young women who have vanished from Los Angeles during the same time period and were never found. There are other cases in which bodies have been found, but it's been impossible to collect DNA for comparison. That's my biggest concern. I don't want to leave anyone behind who's a victim, says Detective K. Now, the Burbank Police Department has set up a hotline for anyone with information about the women in the photographs or Horace Van Vaultz. And I'm going to actually put this information into the chat. You guys, if you know anything at all, please do not hesitate to contact that number listed in the chat. I'll make sure to update the description as well, with this information also. Hey, Unknown. Hey, Gloria. Hey, King MV. Oh, Triple Red X. Okay. Cool. Let's see. Hey, Leakless. All right. Yes, Triple Red X. Good to have you here. So that is what's going on with this man, who is absolutely, Horace Van Vaultz, who appears to be a serial killer. Now, let's just real quick. Now, I want to show you the photos of these women, okay? So I want you to look at these photos, and if anyone recognizes these women, and you would have had to have been between teenage years, maybe into, teenage years and on up, or maybe 9 or 10 and on up. If you recognize any of these women at all, please do not hesitate to call the Burbank Police Department, okay? These photos were found in his house. They only caught him for 2 murders. He was acquitted of a 3rd. And then, he has had a lot of contact with the police in regards to sexual assaults and murders. I mean, I cannot believe he was actually acquitted of the murder of one woman. If you recognize any of these women, it's so hard to believe to me that no family member possible recognizes any of these people. Drugs don't seem to be a factor in the cases with the 2 that he's going to go to trial on. We just don't know, but it doesn't look to be a factor in this situation, so to speak. I'm not saying every single person on here possibly didn't do drugs or whatever, but this was the 80s, and you have to think more of like 1980 through 1988. And that's really expanding it. But really, it seems like the years he was most active was between 1980 and 1986, if this is him. So if you're a family member, ask someone, do we have anyone missing that we haven't seen in a while? Just take a look at these pictures. And again, the detective says no one knows who these women are. Now, let me play a video for you. And hold on, let me bring it up. All right, let me play this video for you guys just really quick.
Team investigation into a murder mystery. Detectives in Burbank say they have uncovered some new information in a pair of murders, and now they need the public's help, your help, to solve this case. Our investigative reporter Eric Leonard was able to see some of the evidence. He joins us live from our News Operations Center with more. Eric.
Well, Colleen, detectives on these cases, decades old cold cases, tell us as soon as they made an arrest, they realized there was much more to the story. And while they say DNA evidence has connected some of the dots, they're hoping some photos we're about to show you help connect the rest. The faces you see here are of women who may have known a killer a generation ago. Their pictures found in the home of a man going on trial for murder.
Women, I don't know who they are. And my concern is that either they're missing or they're dead. They could be the victim of something.
Burbank Police Detective Aaron Kay has been working the case of Horace Van Vaultz, who was charged last year after investigators used genealogical databases to try to find the person who had left DNA clues on the bodies of two women more than 30 years ago.
The 64-year-old man was charged today with 2 counts of murder, with 7 counts of special circumstance.
In 1986, the body of Mary Duggan was found in a parking lot here off the 5 freeway at the edge of Burbank.
The leads ended up running cold.
Not until 2006, when a DNA link was found to the 1981 murder of Selena Keogh, a 20-year-old mother raped, strangled, and dumped in Montclair.
That was a big deal because that opens up a whole nother avenue of leads.
But still no connection to the person who did it until this.
We were looking for a needle in a haystack.
The arrest in 2018 of Joseph James D'Angelo, the so-called Golden State Killer. He was found through a new type of search of DNA profiles that used genealogical databases. He's now suspected in at least 13 murders and more than 50 rapes.
There was a different way of using the suspect DNA.
He says it worked. After narrowing a list of possible suspects, a DNA test on trash snatched from the curb of Vaultz's home in Bakersfield confirmed it. Kay says now they're hoping the mystery photographs lead to more witnesses. People who knew Vaultz in the 1980s when he was a peripheral figure in the early days of LA's hip-hop music scene.
Whether it was a friendship, a prior dating relationship, maybe a prior marriage, or any other type of relationship, consensual or not, I'd like to hear from him. I'd like to talk to them. They may have helpful information, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. We'd still like to hear.
Sorry about the clock in there, y'all. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Now, we've also learned there's lots more to Vaultz's past, including a number of other sexual assault allegations and a strange, unsuccessful murder prosecution for a woman who was last seen in Thousand Oaks in 1986. Vaultz is due in court Monday to begin a preliminary hearing on...
Come on. Really?
2 murder cases. Police are looking for information. They've set up a tip line. You can find that number with the story on this story on our website, NBCLosAngeles.com. Live in the News Operations Center, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you in the studio.
Sorry about that, guys, about how that kept clocking. I think the reason why that was happening is because I had essentially another window open where I had some of these individual photos, but we'll try that again here in just a bit here. But what I want to do right now is I want to now show you the individual photos of these women. If you recognize any of these women, or if you even recognize this man, and you know anything about him that could possibly help the police, I encourage you to contact again, here's the information. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on a second. It is at Burbank Police Department. Okay, and that is the number there. And please contact them and give them any information that you may have that may help them. We're talking about this is a lot of women that are missing. Okay, and there's a lot of men that got away with murder back in the 80s, and it's time for those men to be held accountable for what they've done. You heard sad info, Cha-Cha. What's going on, sweetie? Yeah, I see some of you guys saying you're familiar with this case, that it's, Momo says it's been on the news. Yes, they are ready to take him to trial. Momo says it's been on my local news the last few days. They think he may be linked to the unsolved murder of an elementary school principal in 1990. Telling you guys, this is not only odd and unique because this man is black, because a lot of serial killers tend to be white men. So the days of psychological profilers or serial killer profiles, I think those days are over. Needless to say, I want to show you this really quickly, guys. I want to show you, these individual photos of these women. Now, again, we do not know who these women are. We do not know. Now, all this is from Inside Edition. They essentially are already, are saying what I've already told you guys already. Now, again, these women, they are completely unidentified. I just cannot believe this man was actually acquitted of a murder. It's unbelievable. But again, this man's name is Horace Van Vaultz Jr. Okay. Remember that they are going to take him to trial for the murder of a woman named Miss Duggan, who was found in the trunk of her car in an empty Burbank parking lot. And Selena Keogh was found under some bushes on a street in Montclair. Both women had been bound, sexually assaulted, and suffocated to death. The two cases were linked through the law enforcement databases of CODIS in 2006 after DNA profiles recovered from both scenes were found to have come from the same person. Police were not able to identify an actual suspect until last year when they submitted the DNA to a commercial genealogy service. They've not identified which one it is, but there's not many out there. We've got 23andMe, we've got Ancestry.com. There's a few, but it's very obvious that this is a tool that police are absolutely using now. Okay. They were able to identify distant relatives of the alleged killer, and they were able to narrow down their search, and that's how they found him. They obtained his DNA from a trash sample, and it was found to be an exact match to the crime scene profile, and this is him. This is him when he was younger, during the 80s, when he would have been committing his crimes. And this is him now, to the right. Okay. Now, we know the Golden State Killer was also found this way. But this was the first person in Los Angeles that was found through using genealogy services. Again, it's a controversial method, and it's gaining traction around the country for its ability to crack open the most frigid of cold cases. Now, when you have cold cases, you're always looking for new ways to solve them, and you're asking, is that a method we can use in our cases? And I'm going to tell you guys something. I was telling everybody before they started using Ancestry and Genealogy and 23andMe, I was telling people that they're gonna start using those DNA samples, and they're gonna start comparing them against CODIS and their databases to see if any of them match. You watch, and I'll be doggone. It's probably been 10 plus years since I said it, but I'm not surprised at all by this. So it's somebody's personal choice on how they feel about that, So, now, while executing search warrants at Mr. Van Vault's home, Burbank police said they found this cache of photos of these unidentified women that looked to be from around the same time that the murders took place. And you'll see that when you look at these photos that they do look 80-ish, okay? Detective said he hopes releasing them to the public will help discover new leads and identify any new witnesses in the case. He also added that Van Vaultz knew a lot of people around the time and was hesitant to label the women in the photographs as victims. Van Vaultz has pled not guilty to all charges. His defense attorney Damon Hobdy, told Inside Edition that his client maintains his innocence and is prepared to fight the charges in court. I bet he is. He's already been acquitted of one murder that included a sexual assault. If you recognize any of these people in the pictures below, please contact the Burbank Police Hotline. I've put it in the chat twice, and I will put it in the description of the video, and I will pin a comment. It's 818-238-3288. Again, the number is 818-238-3288. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through these photos. Okay. And I'm just going to go real slow. And if you recognize any of these women, please, even anyone in the photo, period, please contact that number, okay? It's critical because, again, police are saying they do not know these women. They've not been able to identify any of these women. Now, I look at some of these photos, guys, and I've got to be honest with you. There's two of them that I've seen so far. It makes me wonder if maybe he took the photos, the killer, just based on the fact that they're not really smiling. And I'm not talking about this one, but I was talking about this photo right here. That photo and this photo up here. And you can notice, she doesn't look like she has even, has a shirt on. I don't know, but that's not the point of this. The point is if you recognize any of these women, these are individual photos that I'm showing at this point. Okay. I mean, it's crazy. And obviously the other thing is these women may have had photos in their wallets, right? And it's just amazing to me that none of these women have been identified. Not even by family, not even by a missing police report, It boggles my mind. I mean, she's a very beautiful woman. This one here, she looks like she would be someone that people would know. This looks like this picture. Now, I don't know what to say about this photo because honestly, does it not look like it was taken outside in a way? Because I see tree branches. Okay. And again, guys, we are web sleuths. Okay. Let me just make sure that that is very clear to many of you. What we do when we're doing this crimes and justice is it's called web sleuth. And I don't know if you've ever heard of websleuths.com. I've been a member of websleuths.com for well over a decade. And this is what web sleuths do. We look at this sort of thing. It's important to share this, these types of videos if possible, or the links. I'll include the links to these sites so that other people can become aware. I mean, and think about this. We're looking at over, 20 photos of women that have not been identified by the police. The police has no clue who these women are. They don't know who these women are. And just based on what I'm seeing, I'm sure these women had families. And also, like I said, what I'm seeing, to be completely honest, is I see, that these women probably had photos in their wallets, but I'm seeing some photos that are a little bit suspect to me. Some of these photos, when I look at them, it's almost as if the perpetrator made them take the photo. I'm just saying, because of how they look in the photo. Like, here's an example, like you see tree branches. It was taken outside. It looks like it was taken outside with your normal flash. It's definitely not your professional photo taken with a dark background. She's not really smiling. Look how her hands are positioned. There's just something odd about this photo as well, to me, okay? Now, this, you can tell was probably a photo in this person's wallet. This photo looks normal, natural. There's someone standing behind her. This looks like a normal, natural photo, probably in someone's wallet, unless there was some parties taking place and someone took the photo beforehand. But it seems like, to me, it's possible that photos were something this person liked. Now, this photo I could take either way. For one, I don't see like any clothing on really below the neck. She's smiling, but she's kind of not. But she also has eyeliner on and lipstick. So I don't know what to say on that one. Now, who are these women, right? Is one missing and the other's alive? If so, then hopefully the other person, if there's only one person that police can't identify, maybe the other person in this photo can identify who the other person is and come to police with this information, right? But we don't know. Again, these look like photos, just like this one was for sure. To me, it doesn't appear that, it appears that this would have been a photo carried around in someone's wallet or in a purse, right? Either sisters or best friends or something like that. Sort of the same here with this one, unless it was taken prior to. And sort of the same here with this one, except the only thing about this photo that kind of caught my attention was it looks like she had a tear welling up in her eye here. And the smile, it could be construed as a fake smile. I mean, am I tripping here, or does anyone else notice that in this particular photo? I noticed it when I was looking through them, but I just noticed that in this right eye, it almost looked like she has a tear welling up inside that eye, and that the photo may have been taken by the perpetrator. Let's see here. We're going to keep going. And though that's it. That's all the photos. Now, the one thing, that I definitely, want to, kind of bring up here. Give me just a second. There's one more thing. Hold on. Horace Van Vaultz Jr. And I mean, this is going all over the place. We really need to find out, you know, who these women are. I'm praying that these women will come forward and say, hey, that's me from, 30, 40 years ago. I'm alive. I'm fine. Or, hey, that's my grandma, or that's my aunt, or whomever. They're fine. That would be, the best thing possible. But with DNA matching forensic evidence and then finding these photos in this guy's house during a search, like, why? What I wanted to show you was DNA was essentially what linked them. But I've already showed you a photo of him, and I mean, that's really what I wanted to do this live about today. This is something that I suspect will absolutely be making the rounds of the news in the next couple of days, over the next week. Now, they did try to say this guy was some peaceful widower or something like that, but it's, I think that whatever wife he was married to had no clue who she was married to. You know what I mean? Give me 1 second. I'll end it with this. Let me share this one last article from patch.com. Let's just share this out just really quick. And let's just kind of, we try to be fair to everybody here. An attorney for Horace Van Vaultz Jr. says he's the victim of a faulty technology, but prosecutors suspect he may have a trail of victims. And I think prosecutors might be right. Again, that's Horace. I'm sorry, but when I read that he had already been acquitted of a murder and a rape from 1986, I was like, whoa. So a Bakersfield man accused of killing 2 young women in the 80s, including a Reseda resident whose body was found in the trunk of a car in a Burbank parking lot, made his first court appearance Monday in downtown Los Angeles. Now, this was back in November, but what I thought interesting is this marks the first, and I've mentioned this, marks the first criminal prosecution in Los Angeles County involving investigative genetic genealogy, in which detectives access the commercial DNA databases, loaded the DNA material from the crime, and found a match based on a relative, as we've discussed. Now, Van Vaultz, 64, the murder of Mrs. Mary Duggan happened on June the 9th of 1986. It was an asphyxiation killing, and it was in the San Fernando Valley. And July 16th, 1981, strangulation of Selena Keogh, who was only 20 years old, who was a mother, who was killed in San Bernardino County and dumped, as I've mentioned before, under bushes in Montclair. Like I said before, both of those women had been sexually assaulted and bonded, and bound, and he had entered a not guilty plea against this. Now, here's what his attorney is saying, okay? Mr. Vaultz maintains his innocence. Surprisingly, Mr. Vaultz has taken this very well. He understands that this is going to be a fight. The attorney that said he did not yet have discovery documents from the prosecution, but indicated that the evidence tying his client to the murders could be flawed. This is his quote, their contention is that it's a DNA case. Mr. Vaultz's attorney is saying DNA can be faulty. I'm just thinking to myself, he has already gotten away with murder and acquitted once. Dude, you're not going to do this, okay? No, I don't think so. There's no way. But here's what I wonder. If his murder stopped in like 1986 or in the 80s or whatever the case may be, why? Why did they stop? Did something happen in his life? Did he move somewhere? Like, what made him stop? Because usually if you've killed, this many people possibly, it's not something like people can just turn on and off. From people that I've talked to, and yes, I have talked to a couple of people that have murdered before. In some cases, it's like almost, I can only relate it to like a demon possesses them, but not like something you'd see on The Exorcist. It's just like, it's like a demon possesses them and they can't stop, if that makes any sense, what I'm saying right now. Kind of similar with people that commit sexual assault and rapes, and they just don't stop until they're caught. It's as if, it's not that they don't have a sound mind, like they can't think or make a decision, but it's almost like they're possessed by some demon to make them want to do such horrible and awful things to someone, another living human being, But that is the story that I really wanted to cover, and with you guys today, because I thought that was a very, very interesting story. And again, I have put the phone number to the Burbank Police Hotline down in the chat a couple of times, as well as shared it here during this video. So again, I'm going to show this photo one more time here. And if you recognize any of these women, please do not hesitate. Let me grab the collage here. Hold on. 1 second. All right, let me go ahead and share this out one more time here for you guys. And if you recognize any of these women, I'm serious, any of these women at all, old friends that you talked to, old girlfriends that you might have dated at some point. And let me make this big screen. An old job they worked at, just anything, guys. Please do not hesitate to contact the Burbank Police Department. And for goodness sakes, if you run into something and you can't remember, all you can remember is, oh my gosh, I remember Leak, you did this video, and I remember this one woman, then just hit me up, and by God, I'll give you the phone number. Seriously. Okay. So this is, the story that I wanted to talk to you guys about today, and these mystery photos that were found at an accused serial killer's home. Of course, he will, we say accused now, but if he is convicted, he will be a convicted killer. He's already been acquitted once before for the sexual assault and murder and rape of a woman. So I hear you. I absolutely hear you on that. Thank you, the official Truth Seeker. By the way, everybody, please make sure you follow her channel. Very, very good content, and she's actually working really hard to build her channel. And I'd love to get her to 1,000, you guys. Of course, I do see our Trump trolls, Hi, Dolly. How are you? They're waiting for DNA analysis to come back on the unsolved murder of our principal to see if he's a match. She lives in Bakersfield near his area. So that would be all the way to 1990. And if that's the case, then that means that he killed between 1980 that we know of and possibly 1990. Unless he killed her in 89 and she was found in 90, all those factors will play a part. But let me see if there's any additional videos that I can find that are news clips regarding this, but there's just not. There's not a lot of news clips regarding this particular case whatsoever. Matter of fact, when I do a search, mine show up. My YouTube video shows up at the very top, which means that there's not enough attention, honestly, on this case. It's unfortunate. Hold on just one second. Let's see what this is here. One second. Let's see if there's any video here on this. No. Nope. So yeah, there is not a lot of video, not a lot of photos out here related to this whole situation, unfortunately. But I felt like it was important to bring this to you guys and make you aware of it if you were not aware of it, to those of you that are out there in California. And for all we know, these people could have traveled to many states across the United States of America, right? So anyway, that's it, guys. That is my live for tonight. And so I appreciate each and every one of you that came in, who joined the live and got some of this good information. Please feel free to share the video. If you'd like to share it to your social media platform, as far as embedding it or sharing the link, I'm cool with that. Tomorrow I will be doing a video on disclosing of HIV status on social media. That seems to be a tactic many are doing. It's like another form of doxing that's happening out here to try to hurt people when they're angry at them. I've been seeing a lot of that going on. But there's also another serial killing case that I've been looking into. It's a gang serial killing case where there's literally a gang of people that are committing serial killings. But I've also been very, very much paying attention to the news in regards to the R. Kelly case and the Azriel Clary admission. Who in here is aware of what I'm talking about when I say Azriel Clary's admission to doing something that she had completely been denying? Are any of you aware of what I'm referring to? Let me know, Momo. That'll work. Thank you, baby. Doesn't look like you guys are. Okay. All right. Well, I will not say anything. I will leave it alone, and I may do a video to discuss. So I have been building out my Patreon. I've been building out my website. I'm working on a plugin or an add-in on my website right now to where each time I do a video on YouTube, it's going to automatically sync and post for me. That way I can try to remove the manual part of that. So every video that I do, it will automatically post. And I'm looking forward to that. It'll create, a blog, post for me, as I really am working to build my website. I've got Google AdSense there, and I made some good money last month on Google AdSense. I was surprised to see the amount of people viewing my website, as well as even here. I have had, I want to thank, all of my new subscribers. You all have helped me grow this channel. And I'm amazed at how many subscribers I have in just 1 year. I really, really, really am very amazed. So I want to thank all of my new subscribers. I want to also let you guys know, because I want to be upfront and honest, that slowly you'll start noticing some of the beef videos that I've had on this channel go on private. I will never remove the video in which I received death threats on video on YouTube Live. That will always stay up. But all the rest of it, not that it did not happen, will slowly become private and hidden from my main channel. Because again, I have to think about my future and my brand. And I don't want anyone to look at my brand and see, some nonsense like that. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Yes, the RK saga. So now you guys get what? Yes, Sandra. Correct. She has admitted that she did. So, like, the most grossest thing that we could ever imagine R. Kelly doing. And he, is obviously someone who is being accused of sexual assault. I feel very comfortable in not saying allegedly, only because I am 41 years old. And I watched and lived and seen the first trial. And just growing up at the age that I am, I was a 14, 15-year-old kid when his first album came out. I know me some R. Kelly and the history there. And I remember all the rumors, and I am just shocked. I am shocked, okay? So yeah, I was just curious if y'all had heard about that, but not all the times do you want to do a video on something like that. But my gosh, R. Kelly, my goodness. But anyway, guys, again, it's very important to please share this video. Feel free to share the link. Feel free to, share it on your Facebook, your social media, your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever. But please, if there's, and even just grab the photo of the women, the collage of the women, and just post it and say, hey, if any of you recognize these women or know these women, please contact, the Burbank Police Department, or even 911 for that matter, and ask for the Burbank Police Department. Or if you don't even know, just hit me up and I'll get back to you with the phone number. But it's also been put in the chat twice, and I'll put it in the description, and I will put it in a comment and pin the comment. Much love, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful work week ahead. And I'll be live tomorrow, because very soon I'll be taking a break and I'll be out of the country for a while. So I'm going to try to do as many videos as I possibly can before I go. All right, guys, much love. Shout out to all of you. Thanks to everyone who came in to join me today. Shout out to you, Mrs. Meat, Rachel Moody, to everybody in the chat, actually. Much love to all of you. Y'all have a good night. Take care.